Don't be a hero. They defeated him but could not break him. The sword chose the one everyone underestimated. A story about the kind of justice we rarely get. The king must die. After the death of King Uther, England fell into chaos as rival factions waged brutal wars to claim the throne. With no clear heir to take the crown, chaos reigned until a powerful wizard named Merlin intervened. To restore order, he forged a mystical sword and plunged it deep into a stone, declaring that only the true ruler of England could pull it out. Many tried, but none succeeded, until a young boy named Arthur stepped forward and accomplished the impossible. Arthur's feat revealed a long-hidden truth. He was the illegitimate son of King Uther, destined to unite the fractured kingdom. Under his reign, England prospered, but a formidable enemy remained, his sister, Morgana. Wielding dark magic, she transformed herself into a monstrous entity to seize power. Despite her immense power, Arthur and his loyal knights defeated and sealed her away. However, before her imprisonment, Morgana vowed that she would one day return to seek revenge. Centuries later, a new story begins. It follows Alex, a young boy who wakes up in his modest home and prepares for another ordinary school day. He lives with his mother, as his parents had separated some time ago. After a quick breakfast, he leaves. "Thanks, Mom," unaware that his life is about to take an extraordinary turn. On his way to school, Alex receives a disturbing message from his best friend, Felix, who is being harassed by two bullies. Without hesitation, Alex rushes to help. He arrives just in time to see Felix being held upside down by his tormentors. One of them, a student named Lance, notices Alex approaching and, instead of backing down, shoves him to the ground. Undeterred, Alex gets back up, determined to protect his friend, and a fight breaks out. The scuffle quickly escalates, leading to an unavoidable trip to the principal's office. Ms. Lee, the school's strict administrator, reprimands Alex, warning that another fight could lead to expulsion. The next day, Alex is assigned to a behavioral improvement session with Lance and his accomplice, Kay. Despite the warning, trouble finds him again when the two bullies decide to chase him after school, eager for revenge. In an attempt to escape, Alex runs through unfamiliar streets and stumbles into an unfinished construction site. Desperate to get away from his pursuers, he takes a risky leap off the structure and he hits the ground and loses consciousness. Panicked, Lance and Kay assume the worst has happened and flee. A few minutes later, Alex wakes up dazed but completely unharmed, as if the fall had no effect on him. Confused but grateful, he dusts himself off and starts heading home. On his way back, he comes across something unusual: a sword embedded in a stone. Intrigued and still tense from the chase, he approaches the weapon, wrapping his fingers around the hilt. To his amazement, the sword slides out effortlessly. Unaware of its true significance, he decides to take it with him. That evening, he shows it to Felix, who examines the Latin inscription on it. His research leads to a surprising discovery. The sword originates from the same town as Alex's long-absent father. This revelation stirs memories of bedtime stories about King Arthur and the sword Excalibur. But Alex quickly dismisses the thought that the sword in his possession could be anything other than a replica. Unimpressed with the idea of destiny, he tosses the sword into his closet before going to bed, unaware that his life is about to change forever. The next day at school, a strange face joins the class. A peculiar new student named Merlin. Although he looks like a teenager like the rest of them, there is something undeniably odd about him. His mannerisms, his speech, even his presence seem out of place. More concerning is his particular focus on Alex, watching him with an intensity that makes him uncomfortable. Eventually, Merlin approaches Alex directly, offering an ominous warning. "Allies, go. In just 4 days, a solar eclipse will occur, and with it, the sorceress Morgana will awaken from the underworld, intent on unleashing destruction upon the world." However, Alex has little patience for what he perceives as complete nonsense. Dismissing Merlin as a delusional eccentric, he turns and walks away, completely unaware of the danger lurking just over the horizon. Despite dismissing Merlin's warnings, Alex cannot shake the strange feeling that has taken hold of him. The wizard's words echo in his mind, leaving him unsettled. Fearing the sword might bring unwanted trouble, he makes a firm decision to return it to where he found it. But before he can act, a disturbing sound from outside his bedroom window interrupts his thoughts. As he cautiously approaches, his heart pounds at the sight before him. A monstrous creature is emerging from the ground. Its glowing eyes lock onto him. The creature moves with terrifying speed, lunging directly toward Alex's room. In a sheer panic, he grabs the sword and prepares for a fight. Despite his determination, the creature proves to be far more powerful. It easily swats him aside, pinning him down as it raises its weapon for the killing blow. Just as all hope seems lost, the monster suddenly vanishes into thin air, disappearing without explanation. Stunned, Alex barely has time to process what just happened when Merlin appears in his room. The wizard calmly explains that he saved Alex from certain death and urges him to meet him the next day at a local diner to learn the truth. Though still skeptical, Alex knows he cannot ignore what has just transpired. The next day, Alex brings Felix along as they head to the diner. To their surprise, they find Merlin working as a staff member, blending in but clearly awaiting their arrival. Once they are seated, he finally reveals his true identity, an ancient wizard who has returned to stop Morgana, a malevolent sorceress whose growing power threatens to plunge the world into darkness. Hearing this, Alex feels overwhelmed. How could he, a 12-year-old boy, be expected to save the world? Frustrated and filled with doubt, he hands the sword back to Merlin, convinced he is not the hero they need. But before he can leave, Merlin uses his magic to show him a horrifying vision. A world consumed by fire and shadows with Morgana's monstrous forces reigning supreme. The vision is terrifying, shaking Alex to his core. Still, he is not fully convinced. Determined to put an end to it all, he and Felix set off to return the sword to its original resting place. But as they near the location, trouble finds them once again. Lance and Kay appear, blocking their path. The bullies, seeing the sword as something of value, attempt to take it by force. They both take turns trying to wrench it from Alex's grasp. But no matter how much they struggle, the blade doesn't budge. Then, effortlessly, Alex raises the sword in a single motion, proving once and for all that it belongs to him. Seeing this, Alex tries to convince Lance and Kay to join him in the fight against Morgana. But before they can answer, a greater threat arrives. Morgana's skeletal warriors emerge from the shadows, attacking with ruthless precision. The four are forced into an intense battle, dodging blows and barely keeping up. In the chaos, Lance manages to snatch the sword from Alex, but as he holds it, a skeletal soldier strikes him down, preparing to finish him off. Without hesitation, Alex rushes to the rescue, reclaiming the sword and striking down the attacker just in time. After the fierce battle, the group manages to escape to the streets, only to find the city in a state of chaos. As their options dwindle, Alex makes a bold decision. They will take a car from the now abandoned street. Together, they fight off the remaining skeletal warriors while navigating the streets, using their wits to overcome the undead menace. The moment the battle ends, the ordinary citizens, who had mysteriously vanished during the attack, return to their normal positions, confused but unharmed. Realizing they have only bought themselves a little time, Alex gathers the group at his house to discuss their next move. He reveals his plan to travel to a mysterious island where he believes his father is, hoping he holds the key to defeating Morgana. Though hesitant, the group ultimately agrees, setting the stage for the perilous journey ahead. As the journey to the island continues, Merlin takes the opportunity to teach Lance and Kay the fundamentals of chivalry, the code that every true knight must follow. He emphasizes that honor, bravery, and unity will be their greatest weapons against Morgana. To further prepare them, he takes the group to a secluded training ground where their combat skills will be put to the test. Using his magic, Merlin forges swords for each of them, then brings the surrounding trees to life to serve as training partners. The enchanted trees attack with precision, forcing Alex and his companions to adapt quickly, honing both their techniques and their teamwork. As their training intensifies, Merlin temporarily leaves to find food, leaving them to face the challenges on their own, a necessary step in their growth. Unbeknownst to them, Morgana has been watching their every move, waiting for her moment. The instant Merlin departs, she seizes the opportunity to take control of the enchanted trees, twisting their magic against Alex and his friends. The once neutral training partners turn hostile, their branches lashing out in an attempt to drag the young warriors into the depths of the underworld. Despite their best efforts, the trees prove too powerful, overwhelming them at every turn. Just as it seems they are about to be pulled into Morgana's realm, Alex calls out Merlin's name in desperation. Sensing the danger, the wizard reappears, unleashing a wave of magic that severs Morgana's hold on the trees. The group is saved, but the battle comes at a cost. Merlin, exhausted from the immense energy expenditure, is severely weakened. With no choice but to retreat to regain his strength, Merlin temporarily leaves them to fend for themselves. The tension within the group immediately begins to rise. Frustrations boil over, and Lance, fed up with their situation, grabs Excalibur and threatens to leave. Alex refuses to let him go, and a heated argument escalates into a full-blown duel. Swords clash as the two fight fiercely, their emotions fueling every blow. Then, in a devastating moment, Excalibur, the legendary sword of King Arthur, shatters. A silence falls over the group as they stare at the broken blade. Enraged, Lance storms off in anger, leaving them divided. Determined to restore what was lost, Alex turns to the stories of King Arthur for guidance. Through his research, he learns of the Lady of the Lake, a mystical entity who may hold the power to reforge Excalibur. Clutching the fragments of the blade, he ventures to a nearby body of water and calls out to her. In response, a shimmering figure rises from beneath the surface, her presence ethereal. With a wave of her hand, she magically restores Excalibur, its legendary power returning in a brilliant aura of light. Lance, witnessing this miraculous event, is stunned. Realizing the error of his ways, he returns to Alex and sincerely apologizes for his reckless actions. With their loyalty renewed, the group reconciles. Having grown from the ordeal, they emerge stronger and more united than before. As their journey resumes, they encounter a group of knights who possess much-needed horses. Hoping to gain an advantage in speed, Alex asks for their help, but the knights refuse to part with their steeds before the argument can continue. An army of skeletal warriors ambushes them, quickly overpowering the knights. In the ensuing chaos, Alex and his friends seize the opportunity to take the horses and flee into the dense forest, but danger follows close behind. During their escape, one of the skeletal warriors lands a critical blow on Alex, nearly killing him. At the last moment, Kay intervenes, saving Alex from certain death. As the battle rages on, Alex notices a disturbing pattern. The skeletons are constantly drawn to Excalibur. Realizing he can use this to his advantage, he devises a bold plan. Luring the skeletal army toward a steep cliff, he skillfully navigates past them, leading them straight to the edge. One by one, they fall into the raging river below, their pursuit finally at an end. The next morning, Alex makes a crucial decision. He plunges Excalibur deep into a stone, ensuring that no one but him can retrieve it. With the sword safely hidden, he sets off toward what he hopes will be his next major breakthrough, finding the house where his father is said to be living. When Alex finally reaches his father's supposed home, he is met by his Aunt Sophie instead. With a somber expression, she reveals the harsh truth. His father was not the hero he had imagined. Instead, he was a broken man, mentally unstable and unable to handle responsibility. A year ago, he had abandoned them and no one had heard from him since. This truth shatters Alex. The one person he hoped could guide him was nothing more than a distant memory. Overwhelmed by grief and self-doubt, he throws his book about King Arthur into the river, believing he is unworthy to wield Excalibur or fulfill any kind of destiny. But his friends refuse to let him fall into despair. Felix, Lance, and Kay remind him of the countless lives that depend on him. They push him to rise above his disappointment, to fight not for a father who was never there, but for the people who still need him. Their unwavering support reignites his resolve, pulling him back from the brink. At that moment, Merlin reappears holding the very book Alex had discarded. He returns it to him, a silent but powerful gesture that tells Alex his journey is far from over. With renewed purpose, Alex studies the book once more, and at last he discovers the location of Morgana's hidden fortress. Knowing the battle ahead will be their greatest challenge yet, Alex and his friends decide to prepare thoroughly. They visit a costume shop, gathering makeshift armor and medieval-style outfits to fully embrace their roles as knights. Though the idea is unconventional, it solidifies their unity, strengthening their belief in the mission. With newfound confidence, the group sets off toward Morgana's fortress. However, when they arrive at the location described in the book, they find nothing but an empty field. Doubt begins to creep in, but Alex chooses to trust the legend. He plunges Excalibur into the ground, and instantly a magical gateway opens before them, revealing the secret entrance to Morgana's lair. Stepping through the portal, they enter a vast and eerie castle. The air is thick with dark energy, and every shadow seems to move with a life of its own. As they advance toward the main chamber, they are suddenly ambushed. Enchanted branches controlled by Morgana's magic lash out and trap them. Despite their best efforts, Alex's friends are completely ensnared, leaving him as the only one able to break free. With no other choice, he presses forward alone, knowing he must face Morgana without them. Finally, he comes face to face with the Sorceress herself. Morgana, unimpressed, scoffs at him, dismissing him as nothing more than a foolish child playing knight. She declares that his resistance is futile because her plan to plunge the world into darkness is already in motion, but Alex refuses to be intimidated. As Morgana begins her transformation into a monstrous, dragon-like form, he grips Excalibur and charges forward. Against all odds, he lands a decisive blow, impaling her with the legendary blade. Morgana screams in agony as her power wanes. With the sorceress gravely wounded, the castle begins to collapse around them. Alex rushes to free his friends, and together they make a desperate escape, getting out just before the fortress crumbles into ruin. Standing amidst the wreckage, Alex feels a profound sense of victory. He had done it. Morgana was defeated. Believing his quest was over, Alex makes one final decision. He returns Excalibur to the water, casting it into the river where legend says it belongs. With the sword gone and the world seemingly safe, he returns home, ready to leave the adventure behind and resume a normal life. But the next morning, something is wrong. When Alex wakes up, he finds branches creeping around his house, a strange sign that danger still lurks. Before he can react, Merlin appears once more, his face grim. The wizard delivers a chilling revelation. Morgana is still alive. Her survival, he explains, is tied not only to her magic but to Alex himself. His journey to knighthood is incomplete, and his lack of honesty and full commitment has paved the way for her return. The battle is not over. Realizing that his unresolved feelings are holding him back, Alex takes a crucial step toward becoming the knight he is destined to be. He goes to his mother, apologizing for his behavior and finally opening up about everything. The sword, Morgana, and his quest to save the world. This moment of honesty and reconciliation strengthens him. But there's a problem. His mother doesn't believe a word of it. Determined to prove the truth, Alex goes into the bathroom and once again calls upon the Lady of the Lake. In a moment, her ethereal form emerges from the water, returning Excalibur to him as the legendary sword materializes before his mother's eyes. All doubt vanishes. She now understands that her son is part of something far greater than she could have ever imagined. Reunited with his friends, Alex wastes no time. The eclipse is only 6 hours away, the moment when Morgana will reach her full power. With so little time left, he devises a bold and desperate plan to rally the students at school to help in the final battle. Gathering the entire student body in the schoolyard, Alex and his team present their case, but their warnings of ancient magic and an undead army are met with skepticism and laughter. The idea of fighting knights and sorcerers seems too ridiculous to believe until Merlin steps forward. Before their eyes, the old wizard transforms into a bird, an undeniable display of magic that silences the crowd. The laughter dies down, replaced by awe and understanding. One by one, the students have a change of heart, ready to stand and fight alongside Alex. Under Alex's leadership, the school is transformed into a fortress. The students work together to build traps, reinforce defenses, and prepare for the battle that will decide the fate of the world. And then, the eclipse began. The ground trembles as Morgana's skeletal army rises from the earth, launching a relentless assault. But this time, Alex and his allies are ready. Using the traps they've set, the students take down dozens of skeletal warriors, proving that strategy can triumph over sheer numbers. But no matter how many they defeat, the undead army keeps getting stronger. When Morgana herself arrives, her monstrous fiery form radiating pure power, the battle takes a desperate turn. Her overwhelming presence pushes the defenders to their limits. Thinking fast, Alex devises a new strategy. He lures Morgana to the school's rooftop, forcing her into a vulnerable position. The students rally, using ropes and makeshift restraints to trap the sorceress, holding her just long enough for Alex to make his move. With Merlin's help, Alex climbs onto Morgana's monstrous form. Mustering all his courage, he plunges Excalibur deep into her, delivering the final blow. A deafening roar echoes across the battlefield as Morgana is finally defeated. Her dark magic dissipates into nothingness. With Morgana destroyed, the world is once again safe. The next day, Alex takes Excalibur back to the lake, returning it to the Lady of the Lake, who graciously reclaims it. His journey is complete. Merlin reappears, no longer disguised as a student, but standing in his full majestic form. He bids farewell to Alex and his friends, assuring them that if the world ever needs him again, he will return. As the dust settles, the school lies in ruins, but the students celebrate their hard-won victory. They had stood together, fought against impossible odds, and emerged triumphant. Though their lives would return to normal, they would never forget the adventure that changed them forever. And now, a question for you. If you were the one to find King Arthur's legendary sword, what would you do? Would you rise to the challenge like Alex or choose a different path? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you. Remember to subscribe to the channel to continue following the next exciting movies with me.